think because, I don't know, for me, in the back of my mind already, I kind of knew it was like, I always thought about what I was in that position. Like, what if someone did that to me? So that's always what I think about, because I'm like, I don't want someone to do that to me. So why would I condone it, even if it wasn't being done to me directly?
Welcome to Normalizing Non-Monogamy, the podcast where we interview incredible people from across the entire spectrum of non-monogamy to hear their fascinating stories. We strive to bring guests on the show who have a healthy approach to non-monogamy. However, it's important to remember that everyone does it a little bit differently, and the views and opinions expressed by our guests do not necessarily reflect our own.
Additionally, we produce this show for entertainment purposes only. Please be aware that we aren't doctors or therapists. Consult the medical professional for anything regarding your health that you might learn about on the show. Enjoy!
Welcome to episode 76. We're Finn and Emma, and today we have an interview with Kelly and Frank.
No, it's just Kelly.
It's just Kelly, but
no Frank.
Frank's part of the story too.
He's a pretty big part of the story. He's on tour. He's a musician, so he wasn't able to be there, but he gave his full consent. She declares that early on. We just wanted everyone to know, and they have an awesome story. She really got into this whole non-monogamy thing back when she was like 12, 13, 14 in that range, and it's sort of been in and out of it over the last 12, 13 years. So it's a great story, and I don't know, I really like it. Yeah,
no, they're very considerate people, and just it's a kind of a heartwarming story, I think. Anyway.
Do you think that? Because I'm pretty sure this is the second time we recorded this intro, and I said that last time.
No, but I really feel that way too. I mean, I did the interview. I was there.
I agree. One quick note about my wonderful co-host here, Emma.
Yeah.
She makes up a name in the middle of this one, and I left it in there because it was kind of funny. But I just wanted it to be very clear to people that the name that was used was not revealing anybody's identity. If it was, I would have edited it out. It was a completely random name, and I have no idea where it came from.
And I have no idea where it came from either, so sorry, everyone.
With that in mind, where are we going to be on August 10th?
Yeah, August 10th. We will be in Findlay, Ohio at the Club Euphoria foam party.
The reason we had to redo this intro was she wouldn't call it a foam party. She just kept saying party.
No, I didn't. I said if it was a foam party. Really? You have to argue with me?
You just say party, and it's a foam party.
I just said foam party.
Right then the first time.
Okay.
Anyway, enough of that arguing. Are you excited to go to the foam party?
Yes. You guys, everyone should come check it out. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, if you are thinking about ever going to a party with foam, this is the one to go to. And if you want to learn more about the hosts, Club Euphoria, Ray and Dee, they are on episode 14, I believe.
Yes, that's true.
Of our podcast. So go check them out. They're awesome people, and we're excited to meet them. And a couple other podcasters, I believe, are going to be there too.
Yes.
I haven't looked at the updated list, so I don't want to say some of them and forget some of them, because I know I would do that.
And it doesn't matter. There's going to be a whole bunch of people there. Come check it out. It's the bottom line. We're also working on a date for the next Q&A for our patrons. That will be announced very soon. Also, we want to just remind everyone that we have a great list of resources on our website. We're not going to announce any of them right now, but we wanted to remind people that they're there.
Yeah, if you're looking for suggestions on how to meet people, how to get tested for STIs, where to get condoms, just about anything, go take a look there. They're all things that we use and love. If there's something missing that you think should be there, let us know. We'll add it, or if there's a resource that you've been looking for, we can do a little research on it and put something up. So just wanted to make everyone aware again that list of resources is at our website,
normalizingnonmonogamy.com or nnmpodcast.com. Go to the same place.
Yep, and while you're there, send us an email. Let us know what you think of the show. Let us know what you think of Emma.
And you, Finn.
And you can also do those things on our Twitter or Instagram under the handle
NNM Podcast.
Let's go talk to Kelly about Frank and all of the wild mishaps that have happened over the last 12 years.
Yeah, let's go. Hi, Kelly. Thanks so much for reaching out to us. We're really excited to talk to you, and I know it's just you tonight, but your husband, Frank, is on board and consenting to this interview. Yeah. So thanks so much for joining us.
No, thank you.
Yeah, super exciting. And I mean, we know a little tiny, like half a paragraph from your email. So
yeah, I'm so sorry. Yeah.
No, and it's all the better because then we get to learn just like everybody else.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I guess maybe real quick, just do you mind introducing yourself and a little bit about you and Frank, and so just people have an idea of who we're talking to, and so we have an idea.
Yeah, so my name's Callie and my husband's name's Frank. We actually been dating since I was 15 and he was 14. So yeah, and then I'll get into that a little later. But yeah, no, we've been together that long. We just got married in September.
Well, and how old are you now?
I'm 27 now.
Okay.
So yeah, so we've been together for 12 years. Our 12 years just passed. And we got married in September. So yeah, it's still a new marriage.
Congratulations.
But, thank you. So yeah, we've been doing pretty good. The marriage thing was, I think the only thing we had to get used to was living together, but even that was fine. Yeah, it just kind of flowed really well. So no issues really. I think it's just the way he folds the laundry. I don't like that. But like other than that, everything's fine. So
that's why I never fold the laundry. If you don't fold it, you can't do it wrong.
That's true. He just leaves it in the dryer.
And that way it's ready to be de-wrinkled for the next one.
And anytime he needs something, he just re-dries it and drives me crazy.
Yeah, mine is like, no, I have certain clothes that you need to like lay out and like not put in the dryer.
Yes.
Yes. He's learned now. He's actually done like he like reads the tag and he's like, oh, I'm supposed to hang this. And I was like, okay, good.
Perfect.
So,
yeah.
So,
yeah. See, there's compromise. It all works.
Yeah.
So it's good. No. And we started out, we actually weren't like official for a while. Like he was like my side thing and I was his side thing and we were totally okay with it. And then it ended up we both didn't have main partners. And then we were just like, hey, let's give it a go. So it just kind of happened like that.
Back when you were teenagers at the beginning.
Back when we were teenagers. Yeah, we were already doing that non-monogamy thing without knowing what it was called yet.
Well, I guess was it just like one other partner and then you and him kind of got together, or were you, after you got together, were you still like, maybe we should just keep seeing other people? I guess, how did it look in those early years?
Yeah. So actually he and I started the same age, like non-monogamy stuff, but we didn't know what it was called. So I was 12, actually. I was dating two cousins at the same time and they both knew it. And
they were cousins.
They were cousins, yeah.
That's an important clarification to make.
Yeah. They were cousins. The two boys I was seeing at the time. They knew that I was seeing both of them. And they were like, when are you going to pick a boyfriend? Which one's going to be the boyfriend? And I was like, oh, like, I don't know. Like, let's just see. So, and then at the end, because I ended up switching schools, I just ended up not being with either of them because I was like, no. And then it's funny because they're both really different. So one of them was like my age and the other one was older. So the one that was my age, he was very like hot tempered, but he like knew what he wanted and like was very vocal about what he wanted. And then the other one who was older just was very shy, but he like really cared. Like one time I was sick and then he like brought all my homework to my house and like he got me like sick medication. And like my mom's like, wow, this guy like calls you like every day at like the same time. Like, and like as the other one that's my age, like just like did whatever his thing. And he was like going to be like the prime minister of our school or something. I don't know. Like that was his thing. Yeah. So they were very different, but like I liked them both for like different reasons.
Yeah.
I was going to say you kind of got the best of both worlds. You got
Yeah, I did. Because one was like taking care of me when I was really sick, and then the other one was like more fun and like we did like the fun things together. Like we went wakeboarding and like all that, like ice skating. Like he was the more outgoing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I'm getting like something out of both of you. I don't know why I have to pick one, but it wasn't going to work out. I was going to like a religious school. They both came from really religious families, so it wasn't going to work out. Yeah. So that's how it started for me. For Frank, what he was doing was that he was just like seeing multiple girls at a time, and all the girls knew it. So they were like, he's gonna pick a girlfriend one day, like he has to, out of all of us. So And that kind of just like spiraled. So he just kept doing that. And all the girls knew it. Like he was like very honest. He's like, I'm just like seeing this girl or whatever. And they were like, oh, okay. So like, you just don't want a girlfriend yet or something. We were really young, but it's like, we just like did that for some reason.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're like early teenagers.
Yeah, we're early teenagers. So then we kind of fast forward. And then I didn't really have a boyfriend until I was my first boyfriend ever. I was 14, but he was 16, so he was like a bit older. And yeah. Oh wait, I have to backtrack a little bit so I can get some backstory. So I was in Sea Cadets. This is the thing. It's a youth group, but they promote like the Navy, the Air, or the Army. They make it everything like youth, but they just like promote it like in certain ways.
Okay.
So I was in Sea Cadet, so I did like sailing, like boating, and it was all for free. Like I didn't have to pay for anything. So it was like I got my boating license for free, my sailing. I even got like my marksmanship, so like shooting guns and like stuff like that. So everything was free. They even paid for me to go to summer camp. They were like, "You go to summer camp, we'll train you, and we pay you." Yeah,
that's pretty cool program.
So that's how me and my husband actually met, was through that.
Okay.
So my very first boyfriend, I was actually 14 and he was 16, and we met at summer camp. So he was like my first love, and I was like, oh my gosh. What happened was he lived really far away. He lived like way up north, and I lived like in the mainland. And he was like, look, I want to be with you, but I have needs, because obviously he was already like having sex at the time because he was 16. But like I have needs like physically, but like I just want to be with you though. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Just like let me know who you're doing stuff with, and I'm totally okay with it. Like I'm not ready to have sex. Like I was like 14, but like if you want to do it, it's okay. So he was like, okay. We were having a long distance relationship, and because he had a family member that was a pilot, he would always come down like every other weekend, visit me and whatever. And then he was like, if you want to see other guys, you can totally do that. Just let me know too. So I said, okay. So then my husband now, Frank, that's how we started, was because he like liked me, and he was like, I was like, okay, well, I have a boyfriend, so like, I don't know if you want that. And he was like, no, that's okay. Like I'm seeing like a couple girls. And I was like, sure, whatever. So let's do it. So at parties, he was like my date to parties when my boyfriend wasn't around. And everyone kind of knew it. So then we were just like get in the corner making out or something, like teenager parties. And yeah, so everyone was like, okay, well, that's her like other boyfriend, like when her real boyfriend isn't here. So that's how people kind of knew that. And then eventually me and my boyfriend at the time broke up because he was like, oh, I don't want to, it's too hard for me. I don't want to do this. So I said, okay. My mom was like, wow, you took that like really well. So she didn't know that I was seeing Frank at the time too. So she only knew I was seeing one. So she's like, wow, you took that so well. Like that was your first boyfriend and first love and whatever. And I was like, yeah, well, like, I'm not gonna, whatever. I think because I was already seeing Frank. So I was like, fine. And then Frank was like, well, like now that he's not your boyfriend, like, why don't I be your boyfriend? You could be my girlfriend. I was like, sure. So, why not? So what happened was we did that, but then we automatically, I think we just kind of talked about like what we were doing before, because he was seeing other girls and he was like, I still kind of like them. And I said, that's fine. I don't really care. Mm-hmm. And then there were some guys in high school that I was like interested in my high school. So he was like, okay, like whatever, let's just keep doing what we're doing. So we kept doing what we were doing. And then eventually though, my now ex-boyfriend, I saw him again that summer because we went to summer camp for cadets, and he wanted to get back together. And I said, well, I don't know how that's going to work because I'm already with Frank. So my ex was not happy. He was like, I didn't want that. Like, I wanted to get back with you, and then he can be the side thing and I'll be your like real boyfriend. And I was like, well, no, it doesn't work like that now. So you got to be okay with whatever I have. So he said, okay, fine. Let's see if it works. So we tried to work it out. It didn't work out because he ended up going to the Army. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I don't want to do long distance again. So I said, okay, well, we're done. So.
And by now, you were in high school by now.
I was in high school, and he was like 2 years older. So I was already like 16, he was 18. At 18, you can go to the army.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I was like, no, we're done. I don't want to do this. So, and I don't want to do the back and forth. So yeah, me and Frank, I don't even know where to start. We've just had a lot of ups and downs in this like non-monogamy thing. There was even a point where we just had to like make it monogamous for a while because I think we just didn't know how to just be together to get like just me and him. So there was some struggles, especially if you've been together for that long. It's like, it's impossible not to have your struggles with it.
Well, and also when you're starting from a really young age, like you're growing up together too,
Yeah.
and maturing too through your teenage years, as well as trying to figure out non-monogamy and trying to figure out your relationship. And there's a lot going on there.
There's a lot. Yeah. Like, I mean, we didn't really know who we were. Like we went to 2 different high schools. So that was a struggle. And then it was also a struggle to like hide what we were doing from our families because our families are not we just based on what our families are like my family's very religious. So I know for sure they were never going to be on board with it. And then his family would be like, they're not religious, but they're very judgy. So we had to keep it quiet. And then like, we actually kept it a secret from our friends because we didn't want them to judge us and we didn't want it to get back to other people's parents. So I think we were just really, really struggling with that too, because we were like, nobody will understand this.
Right.
It was really hard. So I think that's why at one point we did ended up making it monogamous at some point, because we said we're keeping so many secrets from everybody. So like, it's too hard.
Mm-hmm.
So throughout high school, I mean, there was the guy from the cadets, but beyond that, were you both just kind of like casual dating or hooking up with other people, even though you were together? Or were you doing this like together? You would go and find other people? I guess, how did you?
We would find people separately and then we would just let each other know. And whenever another person got involved, like I will say, okay, there was this guy, I'll call him Andrew. There was this guy, Andrew, that was really invested in me. We were in the same class. He knew I had a boyfriend and I let him know, if you want to date or whatever, you're going to have to be okay that I already have a boyfriend. And he was actually all for it, but I don't know, there was something in me that didn't want to do it for some reason. But then I talked to Frank about it and he's like, you know what, it's okay. Like, just go on a date and see how it goes. So for me, I went on a date with this Andrew and then it actually was very nice. It was good. We dated for like 7 months and like we went to the school dances together. He helped me with my homework. I was really bad at math. So, and he was really good. So and when my mom asked questions like, who is this guy? I'm like, oh, he's my best friend. So yeah. And then, and then Frank, he actually was seeing this girl, her name was Cassie, and she lived pretty far out from us, not too far, but they were really cute actually. Now that I look back, they were together for a long time. They were together before I was in the picture, I think. And they were together for so long, but then like it just kind of fizzled out because she had a lot of mental health problems. So she was like, she couldn't maintain the relationship. And he was like supportive. He was like, no, I will support you, like whatever help you need. But she actually ended it because she was like, no, like I feel like for myself, for my health, I just need to let you go. So yeah. And I thought that was mature for her for like our age at the time, just for her to be like, no, like I can't bring you into this. Yeah. So yeah. And like, yeah, no, they were really cute. I was actually like, they're really cute together. Like, yeah. So, and we actually went on a double date once with them. Like it was me and Andrew and then Cassie and Frank. And yeah, we went on a double date and it was like kind of cute because then they actually like kind of like liked each other and they were like, oh, like we should go on a date or whatever. And then we were like, me and Frank were like, totally go for it. Like, we don't care. Then it'll be totally like funny, like when we tell each other stories, but then they ended up not doing it just because they thought it was weird. So they were like, oh. Yeah. So yeah, that was cute and fun. But then it was just like casual. Let's just do whatever. And I think at the time, I was 16 and then I had already started having sex. So then it was just like hookups or like casual encounters. Wasn't until I was like 19 and then Frank was 18 that's when it kind of started snowballing into that. But then it was very short. I think it was 6 months and then we stopped it and became monogamous for like a year or two because it was getting really hectic for us, like keeping it a secret from everyone. So yeah, we actually didn't come out to our friends till like a couple years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I guess when you kind of came to this mutual decision of like, well, we're gonna close our relationship back up, but it doesn't sound like it was because you weren't enjoying it or it wasn't good for your relationship. It was more the struggle of keeping it a secret and the chaos of like trying to hide it. Was there when you guys made that decision, were you sort of like, let's do this for now, but someday I want to revisit this and I think this is the way we will ultimately be, but for the time being we need to just shut it down for a little bit?
Yeah, we definitely had said we were going to revisit it at a later time. But then what happened was, instead of revisiting it, we actually ended up going on a break, because I think it was just the stress of it all. And then, growing up together, we kind of knew it was going to happen. We just didn't want it. So we just said, look, let's take some time apart and see if this is actually what we want. And like, we'll revisit it. And then we'll revisit the entire relationship and see where it goes. So yeah, so me and Frank broke up for a bit. I think I was 21. I was 21 years old, actually, and he was 20. So what happened was, then at the time, my ex, so the ex that when I was 14 had broken up with me and then he went to the army. He came back into my life at that time. And the reason, like, I think I need to share this too, but when me and Frank were together, we were kind of going back and forth, me and my ex. So I'll name him Charlie. So me and Charlie were going back and forth, and Charlie was like, I don't know what happened, but he was still like enamored, and he's like, you're the one that got away and whatever. So yeah, so we were going back and forth a lot. And then even Frank was like, are you sure that's like what you want to do? Because like he like wasn't serious about you, and now like, so I was like, okay, it's fine. So then Charlie came back in my life, and I said, look, me and Frank are on a break, so let's give it a go. So he said, okay. So he was actually serious. He was like, he was living like 2 provinces away, because we live in Canada. And he was like, look, I'm done in the army now. He just finished. And he's like, but I like want to make it work with you. Like, I want to like be with you. I get a condo where you live. And he actually got it. Like, he got the keys. He was ready to move. Like, he had the lease going. Like, he was ready to move. And I was like, okay, he's serious. Like, he wants to be in a relationship or whatever. Right. So I was like ready to kind of move in with him, and I wasn't telling my parents yet, but like I had just finished university. I was like, I was working, so it shouldn't have been a problem. And my parents knew I wasn't the type of person to stay at home till I was 30. Like, I was like, no, I need to leave. So, but yeah, I was like slowly moving my stuff in. Then a mutual friend of ours actually messaged me and said, hey, is Charlie moving in with you? And whatever. And I was like, yeah, why? Like, how do you know that? And then he sent me a screen. This is like iPhones already existed, right? So he sent me screenshots of a conversation he had, and he had a girlfriend the whole time, and he didn't tell me.
Oh, Charlie did.
Yeah, Charlie had a girlfriend. So I was not impressed. So then what I did was, Charlie hadn't moved in yet to his condo. So I like took all my stuff out, and then I just waited till the day he came. I came to the same time, and I was like, hey, do you want to explain this to me? And he looked at it, and he was like, he didn't even deny it. And he's like, I was going to break up with her. I was just waiting for the right time. And I was like, no, that's not okay. Like, you need to be open and honest with people. And I was like, and for my own values, I don't appreciate that. And I don't like that, because like, you went behind this person. You basically cheated on this person. Right. And like, yeah, you cheated on this person. You didn't tell them. Me and you were already hooking up at this time. So I don't understand why you did that. And then he didn't deny it. And then I was like, look, you can live alone, because I don't want to live with somebody who's who you're just disrespecting your relationship. It doesn't matter like that you didn't he lied to me, because I didn't even know he had a girlfriend. So I was like, you lied to me, you lied to your girlfriend, and like I had to find out through somebody else.
Yeah.
Right.
So
if he had told you the truth, if he had said, hey, I have a girlfriend, but I'd like to move in with you, would you have gone? Would that have been okay with you?
At that time, no, because we were already hooking up.
Well, I mean, if he had told you before you started hooking
if he had
up,
told you at the very beginning.
Yeah, if he had been honest with you from the start. Like, I have a girlfriend, but
she knows and she's cool with this. Yeah.
Yes, if she had told me from the start, like, and that she also knew and that she was okay with it, and we had like, it's a complicated situation, I would have been like, yeah, that's totally fine. But he didn't, so then that kind of ruined everything. Mm-hmm. And she found out that he did that. So then, so I started getting messages from burner phone, and she was like, "You're a slut, you're a whore, like, can't believe you did that." So I was like, oh man, I don't have time for this drama. So
but you didn't know anything.
No, I didn't. I was like, I even told her, and I said, it was very short because I didn't want to go too long, but I said, look, as you, I'm very sorry, and like, if you want to talk about this, we can meet and talk about it. She didn't want to talk about it. So that was that. Unfortunately, this was a toxic relationship that Charlie had, and he is still with her. They're actually engaged now. So yeah.
Well, at some point, it's not your problem.
Not your problem.
No, and I even, like, Frank and I were going back and forth about it because me and Charlie are still friends. I've known Charlie for a very long time. I've known him for 16 years now. Mm-hmm. So obviously there's still going to be a part of me that always wants the best for him and wants to, like, make sure he's okay. And
yeah, of course. He's a friend.
Yeah. We still talk, and we're like, we know what's going on in each other's lives, but we've definitely had put a boundary about romantic relationships especially because he's still with the girl that he cheated on, and then they've nonstop been cheating on each other ever since.
Yeah, interesting.
Not ideal.
No.
But you at some point, you and Frank
got back together.
Do get back together.
Yes, we got back together. I think that was a little bit after that fiasco. So I think it was 4 months after that fiasco. We got back together. He was like, I just letting you know, on our break, I like slept with a couple girls, and I said, that's fine. I expected that. It was a break. So
yeah.
And then I told him about Charlie, and then he was flabbergasted. He was like, what the heck? Like, he knew Charlie from before.
Okay.
And we, like, they didn't get along, but they knew each other. But he didn't think Charlie would do something like that. He's like, I never thought Charlie would cheat, because he was very, like, against cheating.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
when you and Frank got back together, did you lay out sort of guidelines on how you wanted the relationship to look moving forward? And had you talked about you wanting to be open, or you wanted to go back into a closed again? At
that time, we said to have it closed, I think, because we wanted to, like, focus on our school. Mm-hmm. And I had just gotten back to school to finish to finish the rest of my, like, specializations. Mm-hmm. And he hadn't finished yet too, and he was just in the thick of his degree. So he said, well, let's just focus on school, because our school was really rigorous. Yeah. And then, because we won't have time for each other if we are doing what we're doing. So I said, okay, that's fine. So we were fine for, like, a couple of years. And but then with fast forward, I think I was 23 or 24. I went to a vacation in Disney World. So I went with a friend, and, like, me and her went out together, whatever. And I was 23. And then what happened was, when I got back home, I was going to see Frank, and then Frank's like, I have to tell you something. So then Frank was like, I cheated on you while you were away in Disney World. So I was like, oh my God.
Because you had agreed to have a close relationship at that point.
Yeah, and before I had left for Disney World, I said, look, we're both almost finished school. I was done school already, and that's why I was going to Disney World, was to celebrate and stuff. And I was like, look, let's revisit it. It had been 2 years since we had talked about it. I was like, let's revisit, because that's inherently what we are. And it was working out for us very well. I was like, let's revisit when I get back, because I don't want to talk about this before we leave. I don't want to have anything going on or whatever. So he basically tried to make the choice for us, and I was not happy. I was like, why would you do this?
Right, because you wanted to have that conversation when you came back, and you were open to opening up the relationship again, but kind of under your, like, both of your terms, not just one of your terms.
Yeah, so I was not happy, and we broke up.
Well, I was going to say, more importantly, you could have been hooking up with Mickey Mouse.
No, honestly, I could have been like Gaston had his eye on me, like you know it. Like I was like, I could have had all these Disney princes, and the bad thing is the girl that he cheated on, I had met her multiple times. Like she knew our situation, and yeah, and she cheated on her boyfriend too. So it was like, what's wrong with you people? So I was not happy. I was like, Frank. And we were talking about moving in too. I was like, why does this always happen when I want to move in with someone? So I was like, maybe it wasn't for me. I wasn't meant to move in with people. So I was like, I'm not moving in with you. We're breaking up. Like, I can't do this. So we broke up and that was it. And I took some time for myself. I think it was like 6 months. I took some time for myself and I actually didn't date anyone. I was pretty single. I was scared I was going to be that cat lady because I already had 4 cats, like at my parents' house. I was like, that's it. I'm the cat lady. Like I've already accepted it. So, and my friends were like, you're not going to be a cat lady. Like you're fine, whatever. So I had like blocked Frank like off my social media, blocked him on like my phone. Like I was like, I just need to like take a break away from him because I'm pretty upset about what he did. So yeah. So then 6 months later, I decided after that, I got through my grieving phase because, we had been together a long time at that point.
Yeah.
So I got through my grieving phase and then I unblocked him on everything. And then I think he was good because he knew that I did it, that he didn't message me at all. So it gave me time. And then I messaged him and I said, okay, can we meet on this day? And it was like a public place so that, let's meet and let's talk about what happened and like whatever and how to move forward. Because I'm like, even if after this we don't get back together or like try to make it work, at least I want to leave as friends.
Yeah.
So me and Frank met and we were sitting at like a park nearby, like eating fish and chips. And we were at that park for 4 hours because I told him, I was like, look, I'm very upset and I don't know how I'm going to move forward because you took away the choice that we were supposed to make together.
Yeah, and he broke your trust.
Yeah, and he broke my trust. So I was like, I don't know how I'm going to move forward. And like, the thing is, like, I have a lot of history with you, but it doesn't mean anything when you break someone's trust. And he was like, I'm sorry, and blah blah. And he pulled out this duotang, and it had letters from every single day that like from when we had broken up. And just like, it was just like basically the same thing of like, he was sorry. And it was always like the 2-pager, like a front to back about he was sorry and like how he regrets it. And he had like a lot of reflection. And I don't know why, but then when I saw that duotang and I started reading it, I was like, you know what, let's give it another shot. So, yeah.
So you left the park together?
We left the park together, but not like officially. Like we left it as, let's work on our relationship. And I said, let's not open it up right now at this moment because I need to build that because
the foundation.
Because I said in my mind, in order for me to be okay with opening up a relationship, I need to trust the person I'm with.
Of course.
Like that I want to be with. And then he was like, okay, I totally understand. And it was good. Like we were monogamous for about a year. And then we opened it up right after that.
So what was the decision? I mean, how did you come back to that decision? Like
of opening it up?
Yeah, because it had been on again, off again in many different ways.
Yeah.
And very tumultuous. How did the two of you get to a point where you decided, yeah, we're where we want to be and let's open this up and see how we can do it together?
Yeah. I think it was a lot of the way we communicated was a lot different. I think being a little bit more grown up helped a lot, and having that 6 months apart was helpful. Because before we would just kind of like sporadically be like, I hooked up with this person or whatever. Like we would tell each other like the day after or the day before, and it was just kind of like mindless. It was almost like mindless hooking up or casually hooking up with people. And then I think what we got to the point where we were like, we don't want to hook up with people. Like, we actually want to have an emotional, like, connection and actually know them and actually, like, date them. Because I think that was what was missing between me and Frank for a while, was we were missing that kind of missing that piece, because I think we were so absorbed with, like, what was going on in our lives, like, outside of the relationship, that we didn't, like, focus on the relationship at all.
Right.
And I could say I was at fault too, because there was times where, like, I would push our relationship to the back burner because I was more concerned about impressing my friends or, like, hanging out with my friends after work instead of, like, hanging out with him like I promised. So I could say for that part, like, I definitely put the relationship on the back burner for a bit, because I was just like, I wanna like be with my friends, and I want to know what's going on at all times. At one point I was, like, looking at my phone more than I was, like, paying attention to him. And
So I have a 2-part question.
yeah.
So the first part is, do you think the fact that, like, you were really young, made it so that it really didn't work out in the traditional sense?
The relationship?
The relationship, or having it be an open relationship. And the second part of that question is, well, I guess answer the first part, because I don't want to influence your answer.
Okay. Can you just repeat the first one again?
Yeah, maybe because I asked it really terribly.
I wasn't going to say that.
So,
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so the first part is, do you think the fact that you were so young, and I guess just learning about yourselves, contributed to the fact that it didn't work out? You would try to open it, and then it didn't work, and then you would try to close it, and that didn't work, and then you tried a couple of different things, and none of them really seemed to, quote unquote, work in terms of somebody not having a fuck up along the way.
Yeah. I think being young was, like, a big thing. And being young and not understanding what was happening was, like, I think was the biggest thing for us, was because we couldn't put a name to what we were doing.
Right.
So we were just like, what is this that we're actually doing?
Yeah.
So we kept saying it's an open relationship, but we were like, we ourselves didn't understand what an open relationship was. Like, we're young, we don't understand how relationships should be working. And I think the other part was, like I said had before, was that we were trying to do something, and then inherently we had nobody to talk to about it, like, because we were keeping it a secret.
Right.
And I think that wasn't the biggest part, but I think that was definitely a big contributing factor, because it was just stressing us out more, because we were, like, running around, like, in corners, like, making sure nobody saw us. Like, we were stressed that, like, our parents were going to see us out and about. And like, we just didn't understand how relationships work, because we were so young.
Right.
So not only was that a good factor for us because we were in one together, but then we were like, so how are we supposed to maintain these with other people too?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and so the second part of that question is, based on everything you said, it was a lot of, like, I wanted to spend time with my friends, and I didn't put our relationship first. All the things that, honestly, in my opinion, should be happening when you're 15, 14, 13, 20. Like, that's okay to have those things happening. On the one hand, you could say, well, it's because you were really young and it didn't work out. But on the flip side, it almost seems like it was a perfect model for the stage of life you were in and the age you were, that, like, you got to kind of have a boyfriend and a really close friend, but you also got to hook up with other people and explore what you were interested in and spend time with your friends. Like, it's almost like you could look at it and say, well, it didn't work, but at the same time, it was almost the perfect model for where you were in life.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that wasn't so much a question as an observation, but I guess I was curious how you look at it in terms.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think what I got out of that whole fiasco from us was that we learned a lot from that breakup about each other, and then we also learned about, like, we're supposed to, like, have the time of our lives. Like, this is the time that we should be doing it, But I think we were so, for myself anyway, not so much Frank, because Frank didn't come from a religious family, but from my like background, like a religious family, like it was like you're supposed to be like, you're supposed to make it work with one person at all times. Like you're not supposed to stray too far from it. So, and like my family is like very traditional. So I think that was also what I was struggling with. It's like, oh, my family, like this is not what I was taught. Like I need to like, and I went to private school too.
Yeah. So you were pushing against all sorts of societal norms and family pressures.
Yeah. So for me, it was like not normal to always like, and like the way it is, like, well, the way I was taught too was like, you always put your like family and your like whoever you're with first, and you never put your friends and other people like in front of that.
Yeah.
So when you and Frank decided to open it back up, how did you approach it differently, and how has it gone since then?
Yeah. So we approached it differently we actually downloaded dating apps this time around. And the dating apps were fairly new still, but we downloaded them, and we actually sought out people who were also like non-monogamous.
Mm-hmm.
Because we didn't want to have another like fiasco with what happened to my ex, to Charlie. And there was also a situation that happened with him. Actually, I'll get into that now, actually. So there was a girl he was seeing.
Who, with Alex. I'm sorry. Huh? Not with, I don't know where that name came from.
Just made up a random name.
Yeah.
with Frank.
He was seeing this girl named Cheyenne. And Cheyenne was not monogamous. She was monogamous. So, but she understood the situation, and she was like, well, I like him, and I know that he has like this girlfriend, but I'm going to try to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
But then it ended up not working, because then she was like, you have to choose me or her. And he was like, no, that's not how this works.
And so that one didn't work out, but you presumably have been navigating it somewhat successfully on both sides, or are you still fairly new to having opened it back up?
We figured it out now. So like, the first one that I had after that, his name was Brent, and he had a wife. So, but they were not monogamous, and I met the wife. We actually went on double dates with them, and then, it went really good, actually. It was really good for a year, but then it kind of just fell off because something happened between him and his wife. I can't really say, but something happened. It was pretty bad. And he lied to her, and I actually chose to step away from it.
Yeah.
I said, I feel like, I told Brent, I was like, I feel like I'm complicating things for your marriage. And if it was me, and if I was married to Frank, I would respect that other person more, because sometimes you need, and I said, like, you need to focus on your marriage and your relationship. So I need to step away.
Right.
So I stepped away.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thinking back, like, I guess you can answer the rest of Finn's question, then I'll answer one. So, like, what does it look like now?
For myself?
For both of you, like, are you still, you have an open relationship right now, and moving forward, do you see that changing?
No, we don't see it changing.
And you're dating other people, trying to find other relationships. It's not necessarily just like hooking up and like it was back in not elementary school.
Elementary school.
I went back a little too far there. Back in high school.
Yeah, no, we tried to seek out relationships to have with people.
Sure.
His right now, it's very sporadic because he tours so much that he can't see them as often.
Yeah.
So one girl in particular he's seeing, they've been seeing each other for a year actually. So he doesn't see her as often as he wants because he's always gone. And he kind of even said like, I choose to see you more than her because you're my priority. So, but I said, like we could talk about it because if you want to see her more, like that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure she wants to see you more too. So yeah. And she's like, I like her. She's very, very nice and she's great. It's just like, she wasn't religious before and now she is, but she knew that we were non-monogamous. but she's also kind of non-monogamous, but she was like, oh no, I'm just casually dating. And I'm like, but you've been casually dating these people for like 2 years. So yeah, so I feel like, but I was like, that's okay, that's your thing. So
yeah, that doesn't involve you right now.
Yeah. So I was like, that's fine, do your thing then, and whatever. But they really like each other, so they've been seeing each other for a year, so a year and a half now. Yeah.
So do you remember when, I guess, or how you actually started learning some of the terminology like polyamory or non-monogamous, or I guess, and learning more about what people were doing outside of, high school relationships?
Yeah. So actually, when we opened it up again, that's when we researched it. So
okay.
Yeah, we researched it, and then the very first person I saw, so Brent and his wife, he actually taught me, and she did too, because they were very well versed, and they were actually like in the poly community. So they actually brought me to like a lot of the poly like meetings and stuff.
Oh, good, yeah.
Yeah, and then they brought me to we have this thing called oh my god, what's it called? I'm trying to remember, but it's like it's a LGBTQ like association. I'm actually trying to remember what it's called, but they actually focus on like non-monogamy specifically, and they have meetings every week.
So that's support and community for you too.
Yeah. So I was going to those meetings and like learning terminology, like understanding like ethical versus non-ethical, like non-monogamy and stuff. And yeah, it was very refreshing because I still go every now and then, not as often as I do, but I just go just to like freshen up on things, like see people that I haven't seen in a while. So yeah, no, they taught me like the different kind of like non-monogamy. So they're like, oh, they're like poly, and then there's like the hierarchies and like not hierarchies. So then it was really nice to understand it more. And I think that's also what helped me in Frank's relationship, was because we were both going to them.
Okay, good. Yeah.
And understanding like, okay, what is polyamory? What is non-monogamy? What are the different kinds of relationships? How can we make it better for ourselves and for other people?
So were there things in there that you and him learned along the way that kind of changed and shaped, some key takeaways that you got out of those meetings or those group sessions where you came back and you're like, I think we need to do this, or we should try that, or we were doing this wrong, like some key takeaways that you came back from?
Yes. So the key things we took away was like the communication part, because we had struggled a little bit with that. The other thing that we also took away from that was it was just kind of understanding like the different, like I think the most important thing was trying to understand like the ethical part. And I don't know if we were doing it right or not, but we were definitely like more we definitely did more of a push where we tried to get like our other partners to mutually agree to form relationships with others as well. And not even just with like they go and seek out other people, but it was kind of like our thing, like they need to be able to have respect for us, for our main partner too. So yeah, so I was like, yeah, I have my nesting partner and you need to respect that, and you need to respect him, because for me, I think, and we both also don't talk bad about each other, like to our other partners, and vice versa.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we were like, if we have an issue with each other, we need to talk about it to each other. And then if I have an issue with my partner, I will talk to them about that. So.
Right. Not burden not burden Frank or any of your other partners with your stress and issues with any of them.
Yeah, because we're like, that's not fair.
Right.
And yeah, and then that's kind of the same with the communication thing. Like, if I have a problem, I should be able to tell you about it and work it out.
Yeah, you take it up with the partner who that problem is with, not with everybody else in in the polycule.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that was important for us, because we were like, okay, because that's why we even have like kind of like a boundary thing, me and him. Like we have like a sign, like we just like do our 2 fingers on both hands, and we just like say like stop, because once we start, either Frank or I start getting like riled up about something that one of our partners did, we like do the sign, we're like, no, we're not talking about this. Like talk to them about it now. So
Right.
yeah.
I mean, that's good though, that it sounds like, and you said you weren't sure if you were doing it ethically or not. I think if you, even just looking way back to, when you found out that Charlie was cheating on his girlfriend, the fact that you called that out and made it stop, and the fact that the same thing when it happened with Frank, and it just sounds like at every corner when there was something dishonest happening, you were the one to put the brakes on. So it definitely seems like ethical behavior was always at the forefront. So that's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because, I don't know, for me, in the back of my mind already, I kind of knew it was like, I always thought about what if I was in that position? Like, what if someone did that to me?
Yeah.
So that's always what I think about, because I'm like, I don't want someone to do that to me. So
Right.
why would I condone it, even if it wasn't being done to me directly? So
have you ended up telling your parents and family and friends at this point, or are you still keeping that secret?
Yeah.
I have told my parents. We have not told Frank's parents, but all our friends know.
Okay, so you cut out for 2 seconds. You said you haven't told your parents, or you have?
Have not told my parents or
Okay.
Frank's parents.
Okay.
But friends know. Like, all our friends know.
Right.
And were most people or all people supportive?
Yes, they're very supportive. They thought it was wild when I've told them. They're like, what? And then they started putting pieces together. They're like, oh my God, that's why, like, you said you couldn't come out for this one night, but then Frank wasn't home. So then where were you going? So, like, yeah. So, like, little things that, like, I would do, like, not inherently outright lie to them, but I would just leave out pieces of information. It started coming together to them.
Yeah.
So they were like, oh my God. Like, they were like, you were, like, so slick. And I was like, yeah, I just don't want to be slick anymore. I just want to be honest. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to approach it. It's not easy for everybody, and not everybody can do it. But if you can do it, I think it's awesome to be able to do it.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, right now I'm seeing somebody, like, I've been seeing him for a year, and he inherently said he was, I don't know how to explain this. He said he's romantically monogamous, so he'll love one person, but he'll have like casual relationships with other people.
Yeah.
But just more like sexual, not really emotional.
Sure.
So I said, that's fine. But I think we're having a struggle right now, because I think he's gained feelings. He said he's gained some feelings. He won't delve into how much of those feelings are, but I'm pretty sure they're pretty deep. And I think right now he's struggling because, like, he's been on dating, but like what he's looking for is always kind of like me. So he's trying to look for.
You said you cut out for a second. So you said he's been on dating apps trying to look for people, but he's looking for people that are very similar to you.
Yes. So, but I even said everyone's different. So, and you need to, like, not look for someone that's like me. You need to just spread your wings, kind of thing. But then I don't know, he kind of just muttered under his breath. But, like, I think we're having some issues now, because his friends were coming up to me and saying he kind of wishes you weren't married to Frank. Like, he kind of, like, hinted he wanted to be married to you or have that option. So I was like, okay, me and this person need to talk now. So yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, it's getting complicated. Like, he was poly, like, before. He said, like, he was like, I was poly, I didn't like it. So I was like, okay. He didn't really delve into it, but from what I heard from him, is that his main partner wasn't giving him enough attention, and was more, I guess it wasn't what he was looking for, because she wanted like relationship anarchy. She didn't want to be bound by set rules.
Yeah.
Whereas he wanted set rules.
Right.
So it kind of ruined, for what he said, that it ruined the poly thing for him, because he was like, I don't want to do that because I got hurt really bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Well, and to be fair, like you say that things are getting complicated, but really all relationships are complicated, right? Whether you're in a monogamous or non-monogamous relationship, it's just whether each one is different in different styles, but life is complicated. So what I'm saying is I think it's okay. Like, even though it may be tricky and feel uncomfortable to navigate some of these situations, and it's definitely not always easy. I'm not saying that at all, but it's also part of life. I think.
Yeah. And I was trying to he's older than me. He's like 30. I'm 27. He's 32.
Mm-hmm.
So, I told him, because he wanted a family, whatever. And I'm like, I understand. And I was trying to tell him, I was like, I understand you're like, the traditional way of what people want in the family, where it's just like one man, one woman, you have your kids and that's it. Right. Traditional way. But,
right.
And, there's nothing wrong with that. And I said, there's nothing wrong with that. I came from a traditional family and my family's happy. Like, there's nothing, but I said, like, I was kind of trying to open his mind up. I was like, I wasn't trying to force him, but I said, but like, would it be so bad that like if our kids had two dads and a mom or something, like, and we all raised them together, like,
yeah. And what was his response?
He didn't have one.
Yeah. Well, he probably hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, he didn't have one. He kind of was like a little resistant to it because he's like, he was kind of like, no, but then like, what if I never get time with my kids? And I'm like, I equally split my time between you and Frank. I told them that straight up. I was like, I make it work so that I'm spending equal times with them, because now I'm spending like half my week with Frank, and then I spend like half my week I spend half my week with the other person.
Uh-huh.
So when you and Frank came back to this, had you laid out some rules? You said this other guy's former girlfriend, who sort of broke the rules and wanted relationship anarchy, had you and Frank laid out rules, and have they sort of shifted over time? Like, had you ever thought that you would be splitting your time 50-50 between your husband and another man, or is that sort of a new sort of revelation?
That's kind of new. It just kind of happened with this guy right now. But no, at first we had like, it was just kind of like small rules, like, oh, we can't sleep over at their place or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Then that changed, but I think that was when we moved in. We actually moved in together officially, and then we were like, do whatever you want. So
yeah, just communicate, basically.
Yeah, just tell me if you're not going to be home, so I don't have to like worry about having dinner for you, or like waiting up for you to come home, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was our only one. We couldn't sleep over at the other person's place, and I think it's just because we were like, we don't even live together, so like, yeah. But no, right now I don't even think our rules are just like, we have family functions, we need to like make that a priority.
Mm-hmm.
If we haven't seen the other person in a couple days, we should probably make some time for them.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was just like, honestly, it's just like safety and honesty, and like protection, like using condoms and stuff.
Yeah, I was curious, did you lay out ground rules around your sexual health and your sexual safety?
Yeah, so me and him are fluid bonded, me and Frank.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But with everybody else, we use like condoms and stuff. Like, and I'm on birth control. I'm on an IUD, so like to double the protection. And we had to Frank want kids, then we would cease like the sexual activities with others just for safety.
If you said if you two decided you wanted kids.
Yeah. So I said I would stop my sexual activities with others just because I don't want to be like, who's the father?
Yeah.
So
Of course.
Yeah, but Frank was actually very like, even if it ended up not being my DNA, like it's still my kid. So yeah. Like he would treat it as his anyway. He was like, it doesn't matter if you accidentally got pregnant by whoever, like I would still treat it as my kid no matter what. So
wow.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty awesome of him to say that. I mean, just that shows how supportive he is.
Yeah. And I kind of said too, if you got another person pregnant, like if they were open to it, I would be totally okay to be like taking care of your child too. So
yeah. Well, and when this episode comes out, it will, one just before it, a few that we'll mention at the intro here, is with someone who grew up in a poly family, and they recount the whole experience from their point of view, and it's fascinating. So it totally can work. And listeners, go back and check that one out.
Yeah.
But I just want to put that out there because it's very related, and we just did that interview recently, so it's fresh in my mind too.
Okay.
Yeah, the growing up in a poly family with multiple parent.
Yeah, like the example, like you said, is with like one mom and two dads, or any type of combination. It really can work. It depends what people are open to and want to do.
Yeah, I work in social services.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually have some families who are poly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And for whatever reason, like I never talk about my personal life to them. Just because it's like a professional boundary I have, but they're more than open to me, and like they've like disclosed to me that like, okay, we're in a poly family, so like I was like, okay, that's fine, because like I'm in a job that I'm not supposed to be judgmental at all,
right?
So, and because I was like, I'm coming from a background like that, I was totally like, oh yeah, and so they'd be like, oh my gosh, like thank God, like our consultants always give us a judging look, but like you're the first one that hasn't, and I was like, no, like whatever you need, just tell me, and like I can make it work. So. Yeah, and it's nice because, like, I feel like they kind of know hiddenly that I am, because they'd be like, I need a counselor that's, like, specializes in poly or, like, non-monogamy. And then I have this full list all ready to go, and I send it to them, and they're like, oh, that was, like, really quick. And I was like, yeah, I just doing my job. So, yeah, but I feel like they kind of know, but they just won't say it. So I'm like, that's fine. But, like,
there's a professional boundary there, but it's I guess it must be good to feel like you're giving those people a safe space too.
Yeah, and they even said they don't really tell anyone, and like I'm one of the first consultants that they like trust to tell. So they've actually been like coming to me, and it's nice because I learn things from them, and about like how they live their lives, like non-monogamy or poly, whatever they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's actually one family I work with, and they have like a group like marriage basically going on. Like they all live in this big house together, and like all the kids call them mom and dad, like doesn't matter who it is.
Aw, wow. It's so cool that they make that work, right?
Yeah.
It's just...
Yeah, there's actually a funny story where like it was just all the kids and the dads, because the moms all went out together as like a thing, like just for a girls' night out. So all the moms went out.
Uh-huh.
We left all the dads with the kids and stuff. And then like the kids were like asking for something, and they were like, go ask your mom. And like they were like, what? They're not here. So yeah, and they kept being like, okay, now go ask your dad. And they were like literally going around in circles asking like all the dads for like so yeah, it was kind of funny that way. So
yeah,
very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, is there anything
that we haven't covered
that you were hoping to get out there and share? Any last parting words?
I think mine would just be like, whether you're opening or closing your relationship, I would definitely, I think the biggest thing is to do your research for sure, and know the terminology, like kind of, because I feel like that's what helped a lot in terms of having to make our relationship work better.
Yeah.
With non-monogamous. And yeah, because you need to know, like, I have the Ethical Slut like sitting on our bookshelf.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and that's like the Bible that we call it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's basically the Bible because it's the practical guide to like poly, open relationships, whatever. That's basically what it is. I actually got that from Brent. He had 3 copies sitting in his room. And he was like, you need to read this, because if you're going to start doing this, you need to like read this and know.
Yeah.
So.
Were you able to get the Canadian translation, or did you have to...
Yeah, no, I got that. It was just like, I was kind of blown away. I was like, this book is older. This book is old. Like, and I didn't even realize that it's like, what, 2009 or something?
Yeah, I think it's about 10 years old.
Yeah, but I think there's an updated.
But there's an updated version.
Some updated version. So.
Yeah, there's an updated one recently, I think. So, but the one that I had was from 2009, and I was like, this book has been around since I graduated high school, and I didn't know about this. So, Yeah.
Yeah, you could have used it a few years before.
Yeah.
I could have. I mean, like, yeah. So I got like the ethical slut, and then when I went to the non-monogamy, went to like they gave me like more than two, and then opening up. So I feel like reading about those has been good because it definitely helped with me and Frank's relationship. I feel like that's why our marriage right now is going like really good. Like everybody kept talking about like, oh, your first years of marriage are always hard, and I was like, really? Because like we've been like sailing through it like crazy. Like,
well,
yeah.
I was just curious on that, and then we'll let you go for real. But
Yeah.
you say like it's going perfect, and I think there would be some people that maybe hear that you're splitting half your time with another guy and half of your time is away from your husband, but then you say, well, it's going really great. And I think there's a lot of people that would hear that, and those two things would be contradictory to each other. But for you, I guess that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, because I think I'm very not needy, but it's just like I really love spending time with people. So, but I also don't like spending too much time with one person.
Yeah,
So,
no, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So, and that's the same actually with Frank. Frank was like, I love you, and like you're awesome, but like sometimes I just need to be alone. So,
Right.
and I was like, totally can be arranged. So,
Right. Well,
Yeah.
and something you glossed over very briefly. You mentioned that Frank was on tour. He tours around the country and around the world frequently. So that opens up sort of a natural opportunity for you to be able to explore those without, you're not just leaving them at home
Won't have
all alone.
time apart, yeah.
And it sounds like you wouldn't have even cared if you did. So
Yeah, no, like, I mean, like he just needs, like for me, I think for him, he's more like introvert.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
So for him, it's like he just needs time like away from everyone. Just to he's talked about hurting himself for 6 months just to like get all so he can compose he composes the music too. So like so he can compose the music and be left alone. So like he's that type of person where he just like he's never been the type of person to always need to be around people all the time.
Right.
So yeah, so he was just like, no, I need space. So
well, I mean, I appreciate you sharing that because I think that's a really easy thing for somebody who doesn't understand that to latch onto and be like, well, how could her marriage possibly be going well? She only sees them half the week. But that's what makes your marriage work. And who are we to prescribe what that should be?
Exactly.
Yeah. And funnily enough, it's actually my friends who are very like, oh, like, they were like, yeah, that does work, because even they had said like most of them are monogamous, but even they had said like sometimes I don't want to see my husband at all. Like I don't want to see my boyfriend or girlfriend. Like they just bother me all the time, so I just don't want to deal with it right now. So I was like, yeah. I was like, I told you guys it works.
Yeah. We don't know what that's like at all.
Yeah, I've never been able to relate to that sentence.
Yeah, no. It's funny how my friends were like crazy understanding, but yeah.
I think if you talk to somebody who says that they've never felt that way, even a little bit, they're full of shit.
Yeah.
I feel that too, because I was like, guys, I get sick of you. Like,
right, exactly.
Yeah, like to my friends, I'm like, I get sick of you guys, like, because the friends, we have like my best friend circle, like we're very close, and we all live like 10 minutes away, and we see each other a lot, and sometimes they'll be like, oh, we're going. They were like, why are you busy? I'm like, no, I just don't want to see you. Like, so yeah. So I'm just very honest. They're like, nope, totally understand. Because I was like, I have to see you like 7 days a week. I think I would go crazy.
Yeah. You need some space and time to do whatever you want to do.
Well, and if you're making it work, you're making it work. And again, who's to say how you should be able to do that? So
yeah, I mean, I even said to my friends, or I said to Frank, I was like, I just came from vacation recently. I went to Japan. So I even told Frank though, because he didn't come, he was touring. So I was like, I'm going to go have fun. Will you work? So
did you go by yourself?
No, I went with my family. So my parents and my brother. But when I came back, because I was like 3 weeks in Japan, I was like, Frank, thank fucking God I'm home, because spending 24/7 with my parents and my brother was not ideal. Like, yeah, for 3 weeks straight. Oh God. Yeah.
Well,
And
besides that, was Japan cool?
oh, Japan was awesome. Yeah. And they actually, this is a very interesting note about non-monogamy. They actually practice it, but they don't openly like say it out loud. So yeah.
Wow.
Some of the younger generation, so like kind of my age, a little bit younger,
Yeah.
they kind of like break the traditions of Japan because they're like holding us back a bit, and like they said that like okay, and he wasn't BSing me because like I could tell when someone's kind of BSing me. He was not. Like this tour guide, it's like a walking tour guide and it was free, but he was telling me like sometimes in the clubs, like they word it a certain way, but they specifically like a swingers or like orgy kind of club, and like that's what they do.
Huh.
They make them sign like forms to make sure like okay, like you're consenting, and like they had a club I think where it was like they have different colors, so it was like I'm taken and like but I'm allowed to play, or like I'm taken and looking for a relationship, or there was like I'm taken but I'm not looking at all, I'm just here to like have fun.
Huh. That's really cool.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is fascinating. Well, if there's anyone from Japan that's listening,
Yeah.
please send us an email because we'd love to hear more about it.
I had a lot of questions about it, but he was like, no, I can't talk about it too much because it's still like a secret. So like not like a secret, but like it's enough to be like openly
it's more
like
taboo, right?
Right.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like they have a crazy sex like life there, but the non-monogamy thing is like very like low key. So he even was like, you need to be like in the know. And like it's all like what they do, they don't put it on social media, so it's all like by word, or they like the way they do their posters and stuff, like they'll put like posters here and there and they word it certain ways, and that's how people find it. So it's like a hidden club. It's like Fight Club or something. I was like, wow.
Huh. Well,
Yeah,
we would never tell anybody if somebody from Japan were to want to come on the show. We would keep it super secret.
yeah. No, it was crazy because I had like mentioned non-monogamy for some reason. Like I don't know. I think I was like rereading one of the books. I think it was opening up, I think. But yeah, I was just like rereading it, and he saw it in my backpack, and he was like, "Oh," he's like, "Yeah, I read that book." Like, it was like he was trying to learn English better, so he was reading non-monogamy books apparently. So yeah,
Tristan will be so proud.
I know.
Yeah, I was like, wow, I can't believe you're like reading that to learn English better. But he was like, no. And then that's how it all started. He was like, yeah, no, it's like a hidden thing and blah, blah. And I was like, this is wild. Like, why are you telling me this? Are you allowed to tell me this?
Huh.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
That's really cool. So I take it your parents did not see the opening up book in your bag?
No, they didn't. Good at like hiding certain things. So I'm like open with them. They know, except for that part of my life. Like I know it's a big part. I have a pretty good relation. I do tell them a lot, like, you know, about, and I actually talk to them about my partners without them knowing. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I like tell them like, oh, my friend so and so, and like she's like, oh yeah, they're your best friends because you talk about them all the time. I was like, yeah. So yeah. So yeah. So it's like, but I have a feeling my stepdad actually knows, but he won't say it out loud. So, because he like dropped little hints to me like very recently, actually. He was just, oh, so how's so-and-so doing? And I was like, oh, he's like doing really good. And he was like, oh yeah, like, did you go over there for his barbecue or something? And I was like, what? What? I was like, Dad, I'm not answering that question. So yeah, I think he knows, and I think he like sort of said it was okay, but like I just like didn't want to get into it with him because I don't want to like.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
but at least you know you kind of have that safe space if you need it. It sounds like it's there, and that's important.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think he's just waiting for me to like come out. Essentially, is what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Letting you do it on your own terms.
Yeah, he's waiting for he said he's waiting for both me and my brother to come out. I'm like, I don't think my brother's gay. He's just not very good with girls. So yeah. So yeah. And he's like, yeah, but like, I'd rather you be like able to tell me if like something really bad happened, and I don't want you to hold back about telling us. Cause like they have like that sense, the parent sense when something goes wrong.
Yeah.
Like I've been having some like up and downs with the guy I'm seeing right now. very recently. So I've been kind of not isolating myself, but they can tell something was wrong because he was like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "Oh, nothing. I think I'm just like having a fight with someone." And he's like, "Oh, is it like a very special someone?" Dad, I don't want to talk about it. Just leave me alone. Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I know this was a short notice interview, and we really appreciate your flexibility and and your open and honest communication too throughout everything. I think you have a fascinating story, especially starting this.
It's someone that started before us.
Yeah.
So it's
which
fine.
Is unusual.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It was a weird time for me. Yeah. So.
Yeah, but we're happy to hear that it's working out and that you and Frank are doing great, and it sounds like everything's going like you want it to go, and you're open to letting it be what it be.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, thank you again.
Yes, thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah, and have a wonderful evening, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah. Okay.
And we're back.
We are back.
One quick note, we wanted to mention that we talk in the episode about an interview that was done with a person that grew up in a polyamorous family. And we just want to remind everyone that was the interview with Co last week, episode 75.
Which they all know because they all listened.
Yeah, but I just want to remind everyone.
All right.
Thank you to Kelly and to Frank, too, for sharing the story. I don't know. I really love this story. I think
it's heartwarming, huh?
It is. Well, I think it's really cool how young they started and how they've navigated it all throughout their teenage years and 20s.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Did we tell people we're in a closet again?
No, we didn't.
We're in a cedar coat closet.
We are.
Pretty good acoustics in here.
A closet within a closet in a basement.
Yeah, it's like Russian nesting closets.
Okay.
Next week, we have episode 77, but it's happening on a...
Monday.
No. Monday.
Oh, yeah. Monday. I forgot.
What
Sorry.
was that noise?
I don't know. Anyway, special release Monday next week, episode 77. It will be an interview with someone, an author.
An author of a book that has apparently been selling pretty well on the Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
O.M. Wills. It is a pen name, believe it or not. But fantastic story and some tips. People had reached out to us previously saying, hey, would be great to hear some stories of people who have tried non-monogamy and it didn't work out for them. This isn't quite that, but this is a kind of a story of people who tried swinging and they just couldn't find a groove.
Yeah. Stay tuned. Come back and listen.
I won't tell the whole story. I was just about to keep going. And
I know. That's why I interrupted you. So, okay. We'll see everyone next Monday.
All right. Let's get out of these closets.
Bye.